pleasure to have you with us this evening. Thank you so much for making yourself available. We're excited about the lineup of speakers and comedians that will be presenting tonight. What you just saw was a couple of videos. Our favorite video of Wilders. We wish him a speedy recovery, and a quick video that we put together promoting ethics and technology. Tonight, we're focused on the Iranian nuclear deal and peace in the Middle East. So, but just want to thank you so much for being part of tonight's event. I'm Vahid Razavi with Ethics and Technology. We're delighted to have a number of notable speakers this evening, as well as comedians. We're going to be talking about a serious topic of nuclear proliferation in the Middle East, specifically the Iranian nuclear deal under JCPOA agreement that the United States under Trump administration decided to pull out of, and its impact on the Iranian community in Iran, and the hardship that they have faced, as well as a future potential of where that negotiation can go. As I mentioned, I was thinking a lot about tonight's presentation, and as I was rooted in Iran, I grew up in Iran, I was raised in Iran until my 5th grade, and then that's when I came to the States, and I got my pruning and my education here in the States, and I'm grateful for that. We're all here because of Western democracy's ability to give us freedom of speech so we can talk openly about what takes place abroad. In Iran, unfortunately, that is not the case. Under Islamic regime, it's very difficult for people and activists to speak about what takes place under Ayatollah Khamenei. I can say that the sanctions has had a very negative effect on Iranians. 50 to 60% live below poverty line. Medicine and food is hard to obtain. The currency has devalued tremendously. And there used to be a saying in Iran, neither east nor west. And now Iran is being pushed more and more to the east with trade deals that are supposedly 25 years in length with the Chinese. As Iran is progressing, hopefully, to new leadership in the coming decade, there's a lot of questions as to where that leadership is going to go and what loyalties they'll have to both the Iranian people as well as to their international partners. I wanted to mention a particular topic that's really important in Iran, and that's God and religion. I am in no position to talk about people's personal relationship with God. I think that I have a personal relationship on how I believe in God and how I worship, and I think that is unique to each individual. Of near state of Islamic State of Iran, religion is the business of the state, and everybody has to ride the same boat to heaven. So it's a challenging environment. I couldn't call myself a human rights activist unless I brought up the human rights violations that were committed against the Baha'i faith. I couldn't talk about the Evin prison that's full of political prisoners. I can't call myself a human rights activist if I don't talk about what happens in Baltimore or Charlottesville or in Gitmo or in Beijing. All these issues matter. Human rights matters, and the International Declaration of Human Rights by the UN applies to us all equally. There is no picking and choosing which country it should apply to. So I hope that is always in the forefront of our discussions and talks, so we don't forget the people that are in jail in Evin. Having said that, I don't live under sanctions. I don't know what that is like. I'm not representing people that do. I am here to have a discussion around it as an American Iranian that has spent 3/4 of my life in the States. So it's really important to clarify that I am not speaking on behalf of the Iranian people or organizations. We're a small organization, Ethics and Tech. We're not funded by any state. We're not funded by any corporation, except for the donations and the generous contributions that we receive from our viewers and our supporters. And we like to keep it that way. We like to keep our independence. So please consider making a contribution so we can keep having these events. Finally, in the past 8 years, Ethics in Tech has made fun of the National Security Agency 3 times. We had held NSA comedy shows. We talked about drones. We talked about killer robots at our events. We talked about the politics of the US. And honestly, nobody knocked on my door and said, Vahid, you can't have these conversations. In one way, I'm blessed that I have the right to freedom of speech. I've even made fun of Jeff Bezos and produced videos and book and contents against the idol of capitalism. Granted, nobody will hire me again in Silicon Valley, but that's my choice. And I had the choice to make that decision and decide that it's important to bring on issues of workers' rights, to talk about these weapons, to talk about the NSA. And I hope the people in Iran can have a choice to be able to criticize their government, to be able to criticize Ayatollah Khamenei, to be able to criticize Ayatollah Khomeini, to be able to discuss their actions. I mean, it's a huge burden to have one person answer to God and God only and represent the interest of the nation to God. You know, I don't need an intermediary. I don't need the Vatican. I don't need no imam in between me and God. My personal relationship is one-on-one. Whatever faith you believe, I support 100%. I welcome diversity, even if you're agnostic or atheist. I go to a church that's a fellowship of all people. It's an interfaith community. I go there for the community benefits, to get inspired. But the reverend there is not my personal connection to God. He doesn't have that responsibility.